Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope that all of you are having a fantastic weekend so far. In this class, everybody, we are looking at IELTS speaking section. Specifically, we're going to focus on part 2 of the speaking section, which is the cue card, the long part. And this cue card will focus on going on an adventure. So it should be kind of fun and exciting. This lesson, as usual, is brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Visit us there. For general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. Those are the two websites that we use for these live classes. They are the textbooks, the materials, the videos, the audio content that we use for the listening, reading, writing, speaking sections. Welcome, Silviana. Hi, Raquea. Romelia, nice to have our members joining in. Students, this is a members chat class. Of course, everybody is welcome to watch. We will have speaking part 3 coming up later on, and speaking part 3 is connected to speaking part 2. So IELTS speaking is made up of 3 parts, part 1, 2, and 3, each one progressively more challenging. We will use the websites for interacting with students. This is aehelp.com. We will use this website in a little bit to talk with students to practice part 2 cue card, and you can join our premium IELTS package by clicking that big red button that's just above my head there. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, and you can use the code LEARN10 for a 10% discount. The cost of the premium package is different in different countries, so check it out in your own currency. And we are an IDP affiliate, a British Council partner, an IELTS test registration center, and I'm a certified British Council agent, so you're in good hands. We know what we're doing. We've helped thousands and thousands of students to succeed on their IELTS exam. This is General IELTS here with the green background. Again, click that big red button there to join the premium IELTS package. And again, we will use these websites later, so if you don't have the premium package, you can click that little green button to join in on the speaking, and it's absolutely free. It does not cost money, so get ready to practice and learn. For more help, definitely get our apps from your app store, Academic IELTS Help, or search for General IELTS Help. These apps will link to the websites so that you can learn on the go. And for vocabulary schedules, check out our Instagram, IELTS_AEhelp, GIELTS Help. Those two Instagram profiles will give you even more help. So lots there for you. All right, we've got more and more members joining in now. Welcome, Andrew, Joao, me here. Fantastic to have you on board. If you have any questions at any time, students, and you don't get answers in the class, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. Both of those email addresses will work. Amazon, we've got books for you. If you like to have our exams in hard copy, search Amazon for AEhelp's Academic IELTS or GEhelp's General IELTS, and you can get our practice exams. They are extremely similar to the practice exams by Cambridge and the real IELTS exams. So if you want some of those to use and follow with these classes, then that's a great spot to get the hard copies. All right, everybody. So we've got speaking part 2, speaking part 3 today. Tomorrow we've got a class for you on Discord. You have to use the Discord app and go through a few steps. There's the URL in the chat. We've got no class on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or sorry, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we've got no class. Tomorrow, Sunday, we've got the Discord class. And then we've got classes on the 12th, 13th, and 14th. So Again, to see the schedule and to get notifications of the live classes, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification button. You will also get notified of our latest HD video releases like this one here, which was released last week for speaking practice. So definitely check that out. All right, students, IELTS speaking part 2. Let's take a look at this cue card for today. Here we go. So IELTS speaking part 2, the cue card. Once you're finished speaking part 1, we did that live class a little bit earlier in the week. Then the examiner will say that is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. Instead of getting really nervous when you hear this, you should get really excited and remember the steps. Okay, to be successful in part 2, you really just need to follow steps, strategies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're going to go through these together. So follow those steps, focus on those steps, and you will do great. The examiner will say, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to read these, think about your answers, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start, when to stop. You can take notes in the 1 minute time if you wish. You have some note paper and a pen there. And then they show you the question and they read the topic. So they will read, many people dream of having an adventure. Talk about an exciting adventure you would like to go on if you have the chance. All right. And then reading the rest of the questions are up to you. For step 1, students, really read the question again and focus. Okay, remember your strategies. 1 minute, it's lots of time. If you have to hold your breath for a minute, you realize that 1 minute's pretty long. It's a good way to appreciate how long 1 minute is. You take a deep breath. And then you hold it for a minute. That wasn't even close. That was only about 10 seconds. I can hold my breath for about 1:30, but I won't bore you with it right now. But try it, and you know how long a minute is. Okay, and then you read the questions, starting with the top. Okay, so many people dream of having an adventure. Talk about an exciting adventure you would like to go on if you have the chance. It's a very clear conditional sentence. We have to really recognize that, okay? So pay attention to every part, condition. The cue card is not just a guide, it's very specific, and you have to be very specific in your answer. Okay, if you're off topic or if you're just kind of answering the cue card, you will not get the best score possible. To get up in those high band scores, 7, 8, 9, your responses have to be precise. Okay, it's just like giving a presentation in school or in an office. Clearly, you need a precise presentation. You can't just kind of talk about the budget in the company. Okay, or you can't just kind of talk about computer programming when you have to talk about a specific piece of code. So you have to be specific. Okay. All right. Romelia says, question, I heard you pronounced the word button, trying to figure out if you have glottalized the T. I mean, could be glottalized in American accents or only in English. Button. Romelia, I don't button. It's more nasal, I think, the T than guttural. So it's nasal. Button. I crush it up into my nasal cavity. So button. All right. And students, that's a good reminder. This is a speaking class, so speak and repeat. Romelia had a pronunciation question there in the chat. This is a speaking class, so speak and repeat. Copy my intonation, pronunciation, speed, vocabulary. If you hear new words, write them down, okay? So super important. This is a speaking class. It's not a listening class, so focus in on that, okay? All right, so it's a conditional question. We're talking about an exciting adventure we would like to go on, or I would like to go on. And even pay attention to this first part. The many people dream of having an adventure. So, it'd be smart to start this response by saying, I have dreamt of having this adventure since being a teenager, right? So include this part. Don't forget about it. Don't just say, I'm excited to go on this adventure. Talk about the dream of having that adventure. Okay, so pay attention to the full cue card. All right, and then let's take a look at the remaining questions. It's very important that you answer all of these in your 1 to 2 minutes. So where would you go? What would you do? Who would you go with? What would make this adventure exciting and memorable? By the way, this was a cue card question, or a very similar cue card question was asked, I think 2 years ago in the IELTS exam. So we're always looking at questions and topics that are quite possible in your IELTS exam. Okay, so the next step, step 2, after reading the question, okay, step 1 is to very carefully read and pay attention to the question. Step 2 is what? Members, many of you are with me now regularly over the last few months, and that's great. So you should be well versed in these steps to success in the cue card. So what do? Yeah, Domenico, you will probably make up a story, and that's totally fine. We'll get to that in just a second. Raquea says, think of ideas. No, Raquea, not yet. Not yet. What do we do before we think of ideas? That'll be step 3, Raquea, so keep that one in mind. But step 2, what do you think? Yeah, Andrew says, think about the question type. Exactly. So are we talking about a person, place, object, idea, or event? Now, clearly here, the type is what? Me here, we don't need to paraphrase here. Paraphrasing will come naturally as we're speaking and while we're taking notes. So we don't need that yet. We want to recognize and appreciate, identify. Raquea, Andrew both say this is an event. Okay. So what kind of an event is this? Okay. All right. So what kind of, sorry, I shouldn't say what kind of event. I should say what is included in an event. So when we talk about an event, what do we need to include so that our listener has clarity? Yeah, and you're right. This is a future event. Very good. That I was hoping somebody would mention that with my previous question. It's a future event, absolutely. Okay, and it's somewhat theoretical, right? Now, Andrew, the order is important. So we do have to talk about the location, absolutely. Location is important, and then time, right? Time of the event is important in this case, especially because we're identifying it as the future. And then the attendees, yes, Chayani, attendees, it's the people, right, that are included in this event. And then the activities, yes, absolutely. And the experience, right, your personal experience. So as long as you include these pieces into your part 2 response when you're talking about an event like an adventure, then you should do quite well. So location, time, attendees, activities, and experience. Okay. All right. So now, step 3. An adventure. Okay. So think of 2 to 3 ideas that are easy to talk about, lots of content, and you should probably choose an idea that is easy to empathize with. Okay, so here we're talking about an adventure that we would like to go on. What are some ideas? So give me some ideas of adventures. So Domenico says go scuba diving, around the Great Barrier Reef. Yes, okay. Australia. Okay. Domenico, this is fantastic because you're specific. So Great Barrier Reef in Australia, it's world famous. It's one of the natural wonders of the world. It is an extremely important place for biologists, for sea life, and it's specific. What I like about it is specific. Silviana says whale watching. Silviana, you want to be more specific. So, for example, you want to say something like whale watching around Alaska. And that's where you can see a lot of different kind of whales. In fact, where I live, you can go whale watching. There's a lot of different kind of whales, like gray whales and killer whales, or orcas, as we call them. So around Alaska. Okay, that's fantastic too. Again, you want to be specific. Okay, Andrew says go on a safari in Africa. So again, you want to be more specific. So you want to say go on a safari in what's that big park in Africa that's very famous for safaris? It's not just Africa, but it's got a name. Andrew, maybe you can help me out here because you're the one bringing it up. And this is the case. This is the issue. If I can't remember the name of this park in Africa, where most people go on safaris to see lions and tigers, I probably wouldn't bring this up because I know that remembering the name of that park is really important, right? So this is where vocabulary is key. I would make sure that I only choose a topic that I can clearly talk about. So if I don't know Great Barrier Reef, I wouldn't talk about scuba diving around Australia. Or if I don't know where to go whale watching, like Alaska, I probably wouldn't talk about it. Okay, so... All right, Chani says camping in Salak Mountains helipad. I'm not sure what that means. Yeah, okay, so go on a safari in Africa. Let's finish this. Or do helicopter skiing in the Rocky Mountains in Canada. That could be a fun one too. All right. Okay, so these are all some quite fancy and exciting ideas, and we can certainly talk about one of these. I think all of these are good thoughts. So remember, you only need 2 or 3, okay? Don't get too excited and think about too many ideas and then get lost and forget about your notes, right? All right. Andrew says Masai Mara. That's not the one I'm thinking about. It will come to me. It will come to me. Okay, the name of that park. And as soon as I say it, Andrew, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that national park. Okay, so these are all great. And these are all big adventures. But they could be tricky to talk about. Okay, going scuba diving around the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, you need some vocabulary. You need to be careful. Keep in mind, students, that on the IELTS, you don't have to be really fancy. You could simply talk about your adventure to go study abroad, okay? So, and a lot of students, I think, would forget about that. So I think a lot of candidates would actually talk about these adventures, like trying to find the lost city of Atlantis in the Mediterranean Ocean. Or the city of gold, El Dorado. So, you know, I think people would think of like Indiana Jones types adventures, and they would kind of forget that, you know, there are some realistic adventures that could be a lot simpler and that you might actually be planning to do, like going to study in university in another country. So think about that, okay? So going to study abroad is possible too. If you don't think that you can speak really well about going helicopter skiing in the Rocky Mountains, then don't talk about that. Don't put yourself into a difficult situation. Talk about going to study abroad as an adventure, or going to live abroad in another country. If you're planning to live in Canada or live in Australia for a few years and try it out and see if you like it and see if you want to live there, then talk about that adventure, okay? It's easy to forget that sometimes the best choice is right in front of our noses, okay? So keep that in mind. The best and simplest choice is right in front of our nose. Okay, so keep that in mind, all right? Okay, now, obviously you don't want to spend too much time on step 3. You want to think of 2 or 3 ideas and then choose one that you think is going to be fairly easy to talk about and it's original. I don't know if I would talk about the safari, Andrew, just because I think that would be one of the most popular choices. So a lot of people dream of going on a safari and seeing elephants and lions. And if you are the like 20th person to talk about going on a safari to see lions and tigers that day, even if you do a really good job, you probably won't be able to get a band 9 just because it sounds so rehearsed almost. Not because it is. You might never have practiced talking about it, but you're the 20th person talking about it. It's really hard to genuinely feel like, oh, that's an amazing response, right? So do try to avoid extremely popular responses. So I would say that going on a safari would be too popular, so I would avoid that. Okay. Okay. Going helicopter skiing in Canada, I think talking about that could be too difficult. Okay. Going whale watching around Alaska, talking about boats and the equipment, using binoculars and sonar, that could maybe be a little bit too difficult as well. I think talking about scuba diving around the Great Barrier Reef and seeing tropical fish and colorful fish, that could be a good choice. I don't think it's too bad, and I think it's quite original. Okay. For those of you, for instance, who are living in India, talking about going hiking in the Himalayas in the Ladakh region, where there are the tallest mountains in the world, and visiting some of the most famous mountains like Mount Everest, taking pictures, camping overnight. I think that could be a good one as well. So Ladakh, I'm not sure the spelling there, like hiking in the Ladakh Himalayan region. That could be a good one. Okay, for this. All right. Ladakh, write that. All right. All right, Raquia says it's 2 Ds. It's giving me 1 D, but either way. All right. Okay, so those are some good choices. But again, sometimes the best choice is right in front of our nose. So let's choose one that's a little bit of a combination of what Domenico has suggested and what I'm suggesting, okay? We'll do a combo. We'll do a little combo. So the choice that we'll do here is a master's degree in Australia in marine biology. And we can keep the Great Barrier Reef in mind. Okay, we can do a little combination. How about that, everybody? Sounds like a fun adventure. Going to do a master's degree in Australia, and this way we can combine the two. So we can combine the exciting adventure of diving the Great Barrier Reef with, you know, the true adventure of what many students are planning, and that's going abroad to study for a graduate degree. Mihir says, that sounds fantastic. Let's do it, right? So, step 4 is to take notes. And you want to take useful notes. Okay? So, don't just write down study master's degree, because you know that, right? Okay? And don't just write notes all over the place where you have no idea what to do with them and when to use them. But make sure that your notes are structured. So notes need to follow the concept of talking about an event. So location, time, attendees, activities, and experience. Okay, so here we go. Notes. All right. Location, Australia. We know that, so we're not going to write down Australia. We know that we want to talk. We want to maybe do our masters at University of Melbourne. Okay, in Australia. I'm not actually that great with the geography there, so I don't know which city is the closest to the Great Barrier Reef, but it doesn't matter. Unless you're in Australia, maybe it would. But otherwise, you know, just identify a university and then I would write down some notes like this. University of Melbourne, Great Barrier Reef, Oceanside apartment. Okay. Just to give me some good ideas of location for this adventure. Okay. The time. What would I write down for the time? Well, something like the duration, 2 years. Keep it short form whenever you can. Okay. 2 years and maybe leaving in August of 2023. Okay, so there, we don't need more for that. Yeah, so Raquia, when you're doing notes, definitely don't write down, I want to go in 2023. You want to be specific, so August. Why did I say August? It wasn't by accident, obviously, because usually school starts in September, right? So I would like to go in August so that I could get situated, I could get familiar with my surroundings, and then I could begin my master's studies comfortably starting September in the fall semester, right? You notice all of the vocabulary and information that's coming out right there, right? Okay, so University of Melbourne, Great Barrier Reef, Oceanside apartment, 2 years, August 2023. So we've got our location, we've got our time. Now we need the attendees. Okay. All right. So instead of writing attendees, I'm just going to write this so you know what's going on here clearly. So location, time, attendees. Okay. Who would be, who would be the attendees here? And again, here you can get a little bit creative. All right. Raquea says, but in Australia, the intakes are in July. So are you telling me, Raquea, that it starts in July? Again, it doesn't matter as long as you know that that's the reason. I mean, your semester could start in September. So Raquea, if you know that it's July, say that it's July and then say you would get there in June. But if you don't know when it starts, just identify the month and then say the next month. So again, the specifics, the truth is not important. What's more important is good information. Okay. All right. Chayani says dive instructor. Sure. Or dive partner. Yeah. All right. Who else? Andrew says friend Ian, same degree or already there. Okay, sure. Maybe you got a world-class supervisor. Mr. Jacques Cousteau, right? So you've got a supervisor. Mr. McLeod, okay. All right, dive partner, friend Ian, supervisor. Okay, locals, sure. Again, you don't need to spend too much time there on the attendees, especially if you're not sure who they are, what they are. You might, for attendees, think outside the box and think about, things like fish, tortoise, or turtle, sorry, I should say. Sea turtles. Even the odd shark. Ooh, getting exciting. All right, it's an adventure, right? So activities. Okay. What kind of activities are you going to do there, right? And again, don't write down the obvious. So write down pieces that will help you to make it sound like an adventure. Okay, so here, explore corals, make a documentary, maybe, about the Great Barrier Reef. Obviously, you're going to do research for your master's, right? Okay, you're doing diving. What else? What else would be an adventure to have while you're doing all of this? I've got a couple in mind, but I don't want to spoil all of them for you. There's one that I really like to do, and I'm sure I would be doing it if I were in Australia. It's kind of like skiing is to Canada as this activity is to Australia. What activity am I thinking about? Right? If skiing is to Canada as this activity is to Australia. I don't know if it's canoeing, Sylviana. Maybe canoeing, or there's some white water rafting there too. But Australia is really famous for, especially if you're into the ocean. What else would you do? You do some diving, some documentaries, some research, and then you would also do some snorkeling. Sure, Domenico. What else? Come on. Even if you don't do it, you might as well say it. Because it's adventurous, no question about that. I'm sure some of our viewers who are not members of the channel are dying to jump in right now and be like, come on, why has nobody thought about this? If we've got Joao in here from Portugal, he should be all over this because you have this in Portugal as well. That's right, me here surfing. Right? Australia is a surfing mecca, right? So if you're going to be living in Australia, there's a very good chance you're going to try surfing at some point. A lot of Australians are born on surfboards, right? Okay, so good. All right, those are some good activities and experience. Here, I would probably just do something simple, like dream come true. The reason I would do this to remind me of the original question. Okay, so it's basically a reminder of the original question. Now, I've got one more step to go in my 1 minute preparation time, and I know it seems like a lot, but as long as you're focused, you can do this. So you have to include this last step, step 5. It's a very important step, and this step alone can save you a band score on your IELTS speaking. What is it? What is this step 5? Okay, we've got the diving with sharks, Domenico, in the previous one there. So this step alone, yes, Raquel, prepare your first sentence. Okay, so here we go. Let's get this first sentence ready. I'm going to do it, you do it, then we'll compare and see how we do. When you get your first sentence ready, make sure it's clean, it's clear, it's accurate, no mistakes. You want to have a good first impression here, okay? So have a quick, accurate first sentence, okay? No mistakes. Right? It's very important. So all right. There's my first sentence. Let's see the first sentence that you come up with, and then we'll compare it, okay? And again, this is speaking, so as we get into this now, make sure to speak, okay? This is my first sentence here. I'm going to say it, copy me. So everybody who's watching, copy this first sentence. I would love to go on an adventure in Australia to do my master's in marine biology and explore the Great Barrier Reef. All right. Good. Domenico says, I would like to tell you about an exhilarating adventure I would love to undertake in the near future after taking the IELTS exam. Okay, Domenico, don't tell me what you would like to tell me about, just tell me about it. So it's not wrong, but it just sounds a bit weird. So take out the first part, Domenico, that I would like to tell you about an exhilarating adventure. So just say the adventure I would love to undertake in the near future after taking the IELTS exam is. Okay, so name it very directly. Clear, Domenico? Thumbs up. Okay, so don't tell me I would like to tell you about. And definitely, students, don't start with there are many adventures I would like to go on, but the one I would like to tell you about. No, don't do it. It's way too lengthy and it sounds like you're starting too general. It will immediately give you a lower band score. Okay, Domenico, I see those lots of thumbs up. Good. Romelia says, I'm looking forward to sampling the sea life in the Great Barrier Reef while I'm doing my master's degree in Australia. Romelia, I love it. And you know, it's absolutely okay to be affirmative like that. I like it, Romelia. It's very direct. Okay, it's good. Raquea says, I'm dying to go on an adventure in Australia to do my master's in education and explore scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef. Raquea, lovely, lovely, lovely start. Okay, what should be my next sentence here? So far, so good. Okay, and I'm training your thinking while I'm training your English. there's a very clear next sentence that should follow my sentence. So, and same with all of yours as well. Okay. So I would love to go on an adventure in Australia to do my master's in marine biology and explore the Great Barrier Reef. What's my next sentence? Tell me my next sentence, students. It should be very clear. Let me show you the original question again, the cue card, and then it will come into your mind. So you'll say, oh yeah, the next sentence should be this one. Okay, so IELTS speaking part 2. Many people dream of having an adventure. Talk about an exciting adventure you would like to go on if you have the chance. Okay, so what should be my next sentence? Raquel, I wouldn't say the time just yet, or I would combine that with my next sentence. So becoming a superior communicator is the goal here. So not just good English, not just good IELTS scores, but in combination with that, a superior communicator. So what would be the most appropriate sentence in response to this cue card? I'm going to show you what I would write, and let's see if you come up with it. There. That would be my next sentence. So I have dreamt of this exciting journey since high school, and I have a plan to get to the University of Melbourne in August so that I can start my fall semester in September. And in fact, this is the reason I'm sitting here taking the IELTS exam. Yeah, we can obviously reflect on that. That will make it sound very real. So you notice how when you're responding, students, to the cue card in part 2, the question has to be in the forefront of your mind, okay? So this is why I often say that you want to read the original question twice before you start speaking, just so it's crystal clear that your goal is to answer the questions on the cue card as directly and as accurately as possible. So many people dream of having an adventure. Okay, so my dream is to go to. I have dreamt about this. I can't wait for this dream to become a reality. Immediately, my brain starts to click on that part of the question, right? Like a robot that's just focused on that question. So talk about an exciting adventure. So this exhilarating adventure, this exciting time in my life. So all of these different concepts around that. If I have the chance, so given the chance, I will spend at least 1 day a week diving the Great Barrier Reef. Okay, so going back to that conditional. Where would you go? What would you do? Okay, so all of those questions, really focus in on that. Clear, students? So you're talking about the card. The more accurately you talk about the card, the more specifically, the higher your score. Literally, like your score as you're doing this is going boop, 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 boop. As soon as you start going off the topic, as soon as you start doing things like, I have thought about many adventures in my life, but the one I would like to talk about, as soon as you do something like that and go off topic, then the score is going duck, 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 duck. And eventually, if you keep doing that, the examiner will just stop you. They'll go, okay, your time is up. Let's continue with part 3, right? But as long as you're on the card, as long as you're talking about the questions, you will get maximum time. You will get that 2 minutes if you're not repeating yourself, okay? All right. Raquel says, I have dreamt of this exciting journey since my teenage years to go to Australia in July. After experiencing this lovely adventure, I can start my course. Raquea, the last part, you're going off topic. As soon as you say after this adventure, it's kind of like, oh, you stopped talking about your adventure. You're talking about something else now, okay? So the course, your master's, is part of your adventure, okay? So let me get into the rest of it now, all right? So I have the time, I have the location, and now I'm going to go through the attendees, the activities, and the experience. So what I'm going to do now, students, is pick up some speed, give you the rest of this part 2 response based on our planning and thinking. You can do the same. So give me sentences. If I catch a good sentence in the chat to add to my response, I will add it in. So Raquea, Romelia, Sanantha, Domenico, Mihir, Chayani, Silviana, Andrew, Joao. I'm looking for sentences here. Keep in mind the notes, okay? During the 2-minute response time, you need to look at your notes. That's what they're there for. They're there to help you continue speaking. It's okay to stop for a second, look at your notes, get some ideas, and continue speaking. It's much better than looking at the examiner like a deer caught in headlights and pausing like this or repeating the same idea. So I want to go to the Great Barrier Reef. So yeah, going to the reef would be really fun, and it'd be exciting to get the chance to hang out and swim at the reef. So no, just look at the notes, okay? Don't repeat yourself, right? Avoid repetition and avoid going off topic. That's how you get high scores, okay? All right, so I would like to rent an apartment, or in Australia they would say flat, as close to the ocean as possible so that I could go big wave surfing every morning. My ambition is to study with Mr. or Dr. McLeod, an internationally recognized marine biologist who teaches at the University of Melbourne. Specifically, my dream is to research the Great Barrier Reef and to find ways to preserve this natural wonder of the world. The greatest part of this adventure would be scuba diving in the reef to take pictures and explore the sea life. I'm sure that I would have some thrilling moments discovering the tropical fish, sea turtles, and perhaps even the odd great white shark. Given the chance to pursue this amazing adventure in the next couple years, I would create the memories to last a lifetime. Okay, All right. Let's see what you've written. So I only see one sentence so far, students. I'm not sure if you're really lost in what I'm writing here, but I want to see more sentences from you. So Raquea, good for you. You get my super duper big thumbs up today. Okay, Raquea says, I would love to rent a flat near the seaside so that I can go surfing every morning. Good, Raquea. So you're kind of similar to what I'm writing, but at least you're writing. Okay, good. I want to see more writing. I'm hoping that it's just the chat in YouTube that's maybe having a glitch and all of you are just writing all your ideas down. Right. Interact. It's the best way. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. Now, I definitely want to check the cue card at this point and make sure that I've answered all of the questions. So the question here is, where would you like to go? Okay, I've answered that. What would you do? So surfing, scuba diving, sure. Doing a master's. Who would you go with? I haven't quite answered that question yet. So if I see that question, I would probably answer that real quick before my time is up. What would make this adventure exciting and memorable? I've pretty much answered that. So doing my master's, diving with sharks and sea turtles, that would all make it quite memorable. Okay, I want to make sure that I answer this this question here. I haven't answered this one. I shouldn't put a check mark there. Who would you go with? Okay, it's very important that you answer all the questions on the cue card. So this would be a solo adventure for me, but I'm sure that I would make many new friends along the way. Okay, so that would be just a quick sentence. So if the examiner hasn't stopped me and they're kind of looking at me like, oh, you got a little bit more time, do you want to say anything else? Then I would look at the cue card and go, oh, okay, I haven't answered that question yet. And I would say this would be a solo adventure. Solo adventure means alone. Okay, solo. Now some of you are realizing, oh yeah, in Star Wars, Han Solo. Although ironically, he's never really solo because he's always got Chewbacca and his other pals. All right, so solo means alone. If you think about Han Solo flying through the universe by himself on an adventure. All right, so let's do this, everybody. Let's go over these sentences together. Copy me, repeat me. I'm going to go slowly, sentence by sentence, okay? Here we go. I would love to go on an adventure in Australia to do my master's in marine biology and explore the Great Barrier Reef. I have dreamt of this exciting journey since high school, and I have a plan to get to the University of Melbourne in August so that I can start my fall semester in September. And in fact, this is the reason I'm sitting here taking the IELTS exam. I would like to rent a flat as close to the ocean as possible so that I could go big wave surfing every morning. My ambition is to study with Dr. McLeod, an internationally recognized marine biologist who teaches at the University of Melbourne. Specifically, my dream is to research the Great Barrier Reef and to find ways to preserve this natural wonder of the world. The greatest part of this adventure would be scuba diving in the reef to take pictures and explore the sea life. I'm sure that I would have some thrilling moments discovering the tropical fish, sea turtles, and perhaps even the odd great white shark. Given the chance to pursue this amazing adventure in the next couple of years, I would create memories to last a lifetime. This would be a solo adventure for me, but I'm sure that I would make many new friends along the way. All right, I hope everybody was able to follow along and repeat those sentences. Definitely there might be some new vocabulary or expressions there for you to learn. Write those down, study them after the class. Okay, I'm going to go through this one more time, nice and smooth, naturally, as I would say this in the exam if I were to get this cue card. Okay, so just listen, and then, of course, you are welcome to copy and repeat again, nice and smoothly, or even just read with me. All right, here we go. I would love to go on an adventure in Australia to do my master's in marine biology and explore the Great Barrier Reef. I have dreamt of this exciting journey since high school, and I have a plan to get to the University of Melbourne in August so that I can start my fall semester in September. And in fact, this is the reason I'm sitting here taking the IELTS exam. I would like to rent a flat as close to the ocean as possible so that I could go big wave surfing every morning. My ambition is to study with Dr. McLeod, an internationally recognized marine biologist who teaches at the University of Melbourne. Specifically, my dream is to research the Great Barrier Reef and to find ways to preserve this natural wonder of the world. The greatest part of this adventure would be scuba diving in the reef to take pictures and explore the sea life. I'm sure I would have some thrilling moments discovering tropical fish, sea turtles, and perhaps even the odd great white shark. Given the chance to pursue this amazing adventure in the next couple of years, I would create memories that would last a lifetime. It would be a solo adventure for me, but I'm sure I would make lots of new friends along the way. All right, your 2 minutes is up. Stop there, and now we will continue with part 3. I will ask you a question related to your response and some questions connected to the topic of part 2, and then we continue. Notice, by the way, here, students, that I've also added this last sentence here, which kind of concludes the cue card topic. Okay, Mihir says, fantastic. Sanantha says, great, that works. Okay. All right, so whether you're making it up or being, original with the truth of studying abroad, it's up to you. Just make sure to choose an answer that you can talk about easily with good structure and good vocabulary. Okay. Raquea says, I want to go there with my best friend Sophia and see the tropical fishes and the coral reef. Yeah, I would actually love to do this adventure the more I talk about it. Silviana says, if I'm given the chance to make my adventure dream come true, it would be to go to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. In fact, I'm planning to do my master's at the University of Melbourne this July. Fantastic, Silviana. I'm glad that you're putting together these sentences. Good. Students, I want to hear about your adventure, and it could be the same. You can just practice what we already talked about, but with your own voice and your own words. Or you can tell me about another adventure. So this is the chance for our members to practice here. And we're going to take volunteers for speaking, everyone. The way to do this is to go to aehelp.com, register a free or paid account, up to you. Log into your My Student account. Okay. Then click on the Student Partner Speaking and enable your microphone in the browser. Make sure it works. Test it with somebody. Okay, we've been working a lot on the system to make it just awesome and make it work for everybody. It was really nice and smooth all week, knock on wood. Okay, and then just send me a message. You will see me in there. My handle will be master. Send me a message, say I want to volunteer, and then I will ping you. let me show you what we're doing here, everybody. I think many of our members know this. So this is our premium IELTS web portal here at aehelp.com. You can click this big red button that's just above my head there to join the premium IELTS package. You can also try it for free by clicking the try the demo, okay? And then you go to your My Student account, and in your My Student account you have a computer-based practice exam. You have lots of them, actually. You have 6 of them. You have paper-based exams. You have a fully interactive course. You have lesson videos, and off to the right here you have a student partner speaking button right there. Again, that's above my head. If you see this red button, you can actually register for your online IELTS course through our website as well. Okay. And once you are in the student partner speaking page, you're going to see lots of students in here. So we've got Kenjayeva, Janat, Sai, Yuka, Abe, Rohan, and many, many more. And then you can volunteer. So you will see me. I will be in here as master. Okay, so you're going to see my handle in here as master. When you click on the blue envelope that's beside my name, you can see it beside the names here, and send me a message. Say, I want to volunteer. I can give you a shot. Now, firstly, we're looking for members here. This is a members chat class, and this is one of the perks of being a member. So if any of our members have joined up here, do send me or ping me. Say, you know, I want to practice. Rakwea, you've been working very hard this class, and I respect you for that. So let's give you a shot. Rakwea, are you ready? So let's give Rakwea a chance at answering this cue card, and then once you give the answer, I'll give you a band score estimate and some feedback, okay? So Rakwea, if you're there, let me know and we'll start you off. Rakwea says, yeah, sure. All right.
Hello.
Hi Rakwea, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How about you?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for asking. I'm looking forward to some adventures on the weekend. All right, Rakwea, so let's do this. I put the cue card back up on the screen so you can see it. You should always keep those questions in mind. Are you ready to give this a shot?
Yes, sure.
All right. Okay, so I will start you off. You can kind of go on the same idea that we practiced, or you can come up with your own adventure. Here we go. So let's do part 2. For part 2, I will show you a card with some questions on it. You will have 1 minute to prepare and 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start, when to stop. Many people dream of having an adventure. Talk about an exciting adventure you would like to go on if you have the chance. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay. If I have chance to go an adventure activity, I would love to go in Australia to do scuba diving because since my teenage I have dreamed of it and I want to go there for my masters and also do my adventure activities. So I would love to rent a flat in seaside because I want to do every morning surfing and sometimes I will do also snorkeling and diving. It is the most important uh, adventure activity for me because it is very adventurous or I will love to see the turtles and sometimes see life whale sharks and some new activities. I also love to do with my friends, my best friend Sophia, because uh, it is a very peaceful and happy moment to me because when we do some activities with my friends. It is the most memorable activity and thing to keep this memory in my whole life. So,
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there, and we will now go on to part 3. For this part, I will ask you a question related to your response and some questions connected to the topic. When would you like to go on this adventure?
I would like to go this year in 2023 August, because after this I can pursue my fall semester.
Okay, good. All right, Raquea, good. So you decided to practice the same answer, and of course, your structure was outstanding. You were using some of the vocabulary from the class that we've practiced, so that was really good. Your response would be about a band 6 to 6.5. The reason you're losing marks is because of grammatical range and accuracy, fluency, and some lexical resource. Let me explain this to you in a little bit more detail, and then give you a couple of tips to improve this, okay? So this would be, again, about a
Okay.
band 6 to 6.5. And the reason you're getting a band 6 to 6.5 is because you have really good content. So your content and structure and your coherence marks are really good. If you would not have this level of content or structure, then your mark would actually drop below 6. So you would get like a band 5, okay? So
Okay.
content is very important to get up into that band 6, 6.5. And then, of course, vocabulary, grammar does also become important for those very high marks like 7, 5, 8, and so on. All right, let me give you a little bit of a more specifics here, and this is for everybody, so pay attention. You started by saying, okay, if. For really good communication, Raquea, get right into the question. So take out the okay. Right, so make it really sound like a story with a strong start. If I have the chance,
Yes.
you're often missing small words in your sentences that make it accurate and clear English. Like, for example, missing articles in some cases. So if I have the chance, or if I have a chance to go
Yes.
on an adventure. And then sometimes you have awkward additional words that are unnecessary, like on an adventure activity. Most native speakers would not add the word activity. So we would take out this word activity. Okay.
Okay.
And then you said, I would love to go to Australia to go to scuba diving, to go scuba diving. So we would take out that word. And then you said, because since my teenage, I have dreamt. This is awkward English here. Can you see the mistake here? Because since my teenage, I have dreamt. How can we say this correctly, Raquea? Because since my teenage, let me give you a hint. There's a missing word here. What's the missing word? And somebody can help Raquea in the chat. So members, as you're watching this, think also. What's the grammatical mistake here? There's either a missing word or we have to change some words to make this accurate.
Because of my
No. The word teenage, what form is that? So is that a verb? Is it a noun? Is it an adjective? Is it an adverb?
it's an adjective.
It's an adjective, right? What is it modifying? What's the noun?
Teenager.
Right. So you either have to change it to a noun and then change the form of the sentence. So, because since I have been a teenager, I have dreamt of. So that would be one correct way. Just repeat after me, Raquea. Because since I have been a teenager, I have dreamt of going scuba diving.
Because since I have a teenager, I have dreamt of going there.
Okay, because since I have been a teenager.
Because since I have been a teenager.
Yeah, because you are a teenager, right? It's something that you are. Okay, or the simpler correction is to add the noun, and Andrew is helping in the chat. Andrew says you're missing the noun years. So since it's an adjective, you want to put the noun years. So because since my teenage years, I have dreamt of going there. So you have these kinds of mistakes throughout your speaking where you have these words that are either missing. And what you need to do, Raquea, okay, is make sure that you record yourself, write down what you say, and get corrections. Identify the missing words. You have to fix this in your speech. Also, do lots of reading aloud. So read a book daily and each day read some pages aloud. Now, the reason I'm telling you that is because in your fluency, you use fillers. So you say something like and you'll say, sometimes I would also do some snorkeling. Okay? And it's throughout your speech. So you say every now and then. Now, natural fillers, Raquea, are okay. So it's okay to use and but not to think about vocabulary or grammar. So if you're using it to think of vocabulary or to think about grammar, it will decrease your fluency mark. And here, the is awkward. I can tell that you're using the to pause your brain and think about the word snorkeling. So increase your fluency with lots of practice, like what you're doing right now, and with lots of reading aloud. Okay, Raquea?
Okay.
All right, but keep it up. It's good. And you're doing a good job. And I love how you're always giving answers and examples in the chat. So keep that going. Okay, Raquea?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks for being my first volunteer. Bye, Raquea.
Bye.
All right, so that's how you do it, okay? And everybody or a lot of people do that, okay? All right, so let's take another volunteer. Do we have any other members here volunteering? Romelia, I don't see a volunteer from you yet. Domenico, we have to give Domenico a chance in a moment here because we know that he loves biology, right? Let's give Mihir a chance. We don't often hear from Mihir, so let's give Mihir a chance first here. Mihir, one of our premium students and members of the channel. Mihir, are you ready? And then I'm looking for other people as well. Sunantha, thank you for the thumbs up. I want to see lots of volunteering. And good on you, everybody, for giving Raquea a thumbs up. I love seeing that support. That's fantastic. Thumbs up, Raquea. Absolutely. Okay, let's hear from Mihir. Mihir, if you're there, pick up. It should be ringing. No, is that not Mihir? Yeah, it should have been. Mihir. Oh. Hi, Mihir.
Yeah, hi Adrian, can you hear me?
I can. I think I might have been calling somebody else by accident. Mihir, good. You're with me. You got me. All right. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Adrian. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm looking forward to some adventures on this weekend, like going skating with my daughter. So, yeah.
All right, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's
Good luck with that.
thank you. All right, Mihir, let's hear about your adventure. Are you ready to answer this cue card?
Yeah, sure, Adrian. Can we try something what I have already gone through, like in my life and something that I dream of?
Do you mean like, can you talk about an adventure that you had in the past and then use that as if it's an adventure in the future?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about it, but now I am thinking of something else, like
You
a real
can.
dream.
You can though, Mihir. That's actually very clever, and I'm happy you said that because I've said that to students in the past that if you have to talk about plans in the future, and that's very smart, and listen up everybody because
Yeah.
Mihir just brought up a really good point. You don't actually have to talk about an adventure that never happened. You could talk about an adventure that you already had in your life, like going on a trip to Hawaii or going on a trip to another country, and then talking about that as if it hasn't happened yet and talking about it in the future, because you have a lot of words, experiences, vocabulary with that. So that's a very, very smart strategy for any cue card that's asking you about the future. Talk about something that already happened, but pretend like it hasn't and it's going to happen. So Mihir, if you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. It's up to you. Just make sure that when you are doing this in the real exam, you don't jump around. So in that 1 minute, focus on
Mm.
finding one idea in the first 10, 15 seconds and then stick with that idea. Do not change it as you go along, okay?
All right, that's noted.
All right, so Mihir, I will start you off, and then whatever you have decided, just go with it, okay? So here we go. Okay, now we will continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you a card with some questions. You will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak and 1 minute to prepare. Many people dream of having an adventure. Talk about an exciting adventure you would like to go on if you have the chance. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Himalayan mountains expeditions are dream of many adventure seekers. If I'm given a chance, I would want to pursue a daunting trip in Himalayan mountain range where there are numerous mountain peaks having height of more than 8,000 meters. To be precise, I would like to climb the Mount Everest as I have already completed its base camp trek. I have done multiple number of adventure trips coupling with my school friend who also loves daunting experiences, so I would like him to associate for this one as well. I would reach to the base camp by helicopter and settle down a little bit. As it's vital step for climbing, I would start acclimatizing and I would prepare healthier food for my trip and I would just keep monitoring my overall health. I would start to attempt a summit once the team is formed. I would also make some frequent climbings before making a final summit trek. This would be the most unforgettable trip of my life because of multiple reasons, starting from preparation to the mountain's top view. Surviving in inhospitable weather conditions and steep climbs, it would be more exciting to be on the summit to witness the magnificent view would leave the
Okay, your
everlasting
time
memory
is
with
up.
me.
I will stop you there, and now we will continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you a question related to your response and some questions connected to this topic. When would you like to attempt summiting Mount Everest?
It's in near future, next month.
Okay. All right. So that's how it works, and definitely expect that follow-up question because that's what they do in the IELTS exam. Okay, that was very good. So, mark-wise, I would say that you would get a band 7 to 7.5, no problem. I'm leaning more towards the 7.5 than the 7. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses, right? So this would be about, I would give it a band 7.5, depending on the rest of your speaking. I definitely think that your English is between the good and the very good. So you have very good vocabulary, Mihir.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
So, for example, using words like acclimatizing, okay, is fantastic. Attempting a summit, so you were using the word summit in its verb form, which is lovely. A lot of people know the words, well, not a lot, but many people know the word summit as a noun, like the top of the mountain, but
Yeah.
less people actually know that you can use that word as a verb as well. So to climb to the top of the mountain is called summiting the mountain. So that was really nice that you knew that form of the verb, or the verb form of that as well. You use some nice natural collocations like unforgettable trip, which is, of course, very natural. So, and then in some parts you had a bit of missing vocabulary or awkward vocabulary, which was kind of interesting, but it's fine. Like you said, the mountain's top view. That would be a little bit off. There's a more natural way to say that. You could say the view from the top of the mountain,
Yeah.
or so that would be the natural way to say that, or you could say from the mountain peak.
Yeah, right. That would be
Yeah.
more. Yeah, right. That's
Okay, mountain peak. I think there's different peaks. I think that might be the wrong spelling, but anyway. Mihir. So mostly though, vocabulary fantastic. The one part of your speech that I had a little bit of an issue with was your intonation. I could tell that you're really practicing to have that natural intonation, and you had some good inflections at the end of your sentence. It means that your voice was rhythmic and then it went up at the end of the sentence, but it was too redundant. Okay, so you had kind of the same intonation again and again and again, and it started to impact your coherence because it just almost sounded like you're saying the same sentence. Even though you're saying different sentences, the intonations made it sound like the same sentence. Do you get what I'm saying?
yeah, right. I
Okay.
get it. Yeah, right.
So try to vary your intonation. So okay, so
Okay.
change it up a little bit. Sometimes go up, sometimes go down, sometimes go flat. So vary the intonation. English has a lot of intonation, and it's variable
Right.
intonation. So it's not just the same, okay? So
Yeah.
try to one way to practice that me here is when you're watching movies or you're listening to podcasts or you're listening to my presentations as well, try to
Yeah.
mimic my intonation, okay?
Yeah, right.
All right.
I have been trying, Adrian.
Good, good, good. I can tell. I can
Yeah.
tell that you're trying, and that's why I'm encouraging you to do it even more.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
And when you start your response, be direct. So you don't need that first sentence. And that first sentence was actually slightly confusing for me. I was like, where are we? And then you're like, oh, okay, okay. So you said Himalayan mountains are the dream of many adventurers, I think is what you said. But it was kind of
Yeah.
like, no, your adventure. So go right away with, if I'm given the chance, I would pursue my dream of going to the Himalayan mountain range and summiting Mount Everest. Like start directly with that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Mihir, otherwise, overall, very nice, very good. I think that you can progress very quickly to higher band scores just by, following these practice rules because I think your foundations are very strong. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Adrian. I appreciate your response.
You're very welcome, Mihir. Keep it up. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Adrian. Have a good.
Okay. Bye, Mihir. All right. Good. Thumbs up for Mihir. Yes. Nice. He deserves it. Very good. And the intonation practice that Mihir is doing is very clever. Okay, to get to those high band scores, you do have to have good intonation. Because part two, essentially, your storytelling. So your stories have to be interesting for those high band scores, and good storytelling has good intonation. I think in any language. Okay. All right. I'm slowly running out of time here, students, but we'll take one more person, and I think let's give Domenico a chance here because Domenico, I think, studied marine biology, and it's been the focus of today's class. So, Domenico, are you ready? We'll give you a chance, but you got to get right into it, Domenico. You got to show us how to really focus in on that response, okay? I know you're dying to give us a response to this part too because it's right up your alley.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Domenico. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I've guess what? I've done some physical exercise before I joined the class, this session, and I feel much better and more confident.
Good, good. You're getting ready to dive the Great Barrier Reef, right, Domenico?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. To explore the wonderful world of the Great Barrier Reef, which I perceive as a bustling city, just that can be found just beneath the wave. The waves.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
The surf. So in natural
Yeah.
English, we wouldn't actually say beneath the waves. We would say beneath the surf. That's where surfing comes from. Beneath the
Yeah,
surf.
the surf. All right, all right.
Okay, it's interesting English, so good. All right, Domenico, I will start you off. Let's do this, okay? So let's start
Yes.
part two. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to prepare. You can take notes in that time if you wish. And then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start, when to stop. Many people dream of having an adventure. Talk about an exciting adventure you would like to go on if you have the chance. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Well, the adventure I would love to undertake in the near future after taking the IELTS exam is a PhD in marine biology at the University of Melbourne in Australia, which would grant me the opportunity to explore the Great Barrier Reef. As far as I'm concerned, I've dreamt of this exhilarating journey since I was a marine science undergraduate student. And I'm planning to apply for a PhD at the University of Melbourne by April, so that I can start my semester by September. And this is the reason I'm taking the IELTS exam, and I would love to sit it by March. With regard to the accommodation, I would love to rent an apartment unit as close to the ocean as possible so that I could go diving every day. My ambition is to study with an international recognized marine biology whose name is Dr. Gendron. Uh, as a matter, in fact, this marine biologist teaches biodiversity of the Great Reef at the University of Melbourne. And on top of that, I would love to make documentaries about the Great Barrier Reef
Okay, your
by
time is up. I'm going to stop you there. And now I will ask you a question related to your response and some questions on the topic of part two. Why do you study marine biology?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, when I chose to study marine biology because as a kid growing up, I fell in love with nature. As a matter of fact, when I would go to the countryside, I would catch creatures I would encounter on my way.
Okay.
So
Domenico,
yeah.
I'm going to stop there and let me tell you, this so far has been your most impressive use of English to date. So I would comfortably score you at a band 8.5 for that response. So maybe with just a slightly better pronunciation and slightly more fluency, you could even get a band 9 for that, okay? Your grammar was outstanding. Your words and ideas were very well connected. That first sentence, my gosh, that was very impressive. I have to ask, Domenico, did you write down that first sentence and read it, or was that coming straight from your head?
Yeah, I wrote. Well, I took notes of the phrase that you suggested to me, and I practiced a little bit while you were writing your model answer.
Beautiful, beautiful, perfect. And that's a great way to study. So you get a double thumbs up, Domenico. That was fantastic. That first sentence that you gave me was flawless, and it contained, my estimate would be around 30 to 40 words. It's a very tricky
Yeah,
long
I just
sentence.
made it. I just made a tweak to the sentence by adding which would grant me the opportunity to explore the Great Barrier Reef.
Yeah, so that sentence was outstanding. It was a perfect example of a Band 9 sentence. You were using adjective clauses, lots of great connective words, and you were using very good choice of vocabulary. So instead of saying which would give me, you used a better word, which would grant me. So it was, and using the words like undertake, that I would like to undertake was also a very nice use of vocabulary. So lovely to hear. Domenico, all you want to do at this point when you have this level of response is just practice it a few times to build the fluency and then also to build the pronunciation, and that's it. And you're on your way to expert level
that's what I'm
communication.
working on. That's what I'm working on, because I'm transitioning careers, and I would love to become a teacher of English. So I would love to combine my knowledge of my previous career path with English teaching activity, and I think I'm a good fit for this new adventure, because I would consider it a new adventure.
Absolutely. Domenico, I agree with you 100%, and I can only encourage you because essentially that's what I do. So I think you may know this. I know some students do. My degree is in psychology, and I combine psychology with English, and that's why I teach IELTS, because IELTS requires a lot of psychology and communication together with English. So absolutely, combining your love of nature, love of biology for your love of English and specializing teaching in that area, definitely. And I think there's a future there for you. So Domenico, keep coming back. Thank you for volunteering. I have to prep for the next class. That was lovely. We'll see you again, okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye, Domenico. All right, thumbs up for Domenico. That's the way to do it. Pursue your passions. Right? When you do what you love, you never work a day in your life, as they say. Students, we're using aehelp.com here. So for lots more great English and practice, talk to each other. We've got 30 minutes before the next class, which will be part 3, dealing with the topic of adventures. Okay? So definitely come back for that. Register for the premium course on our website by clicking the big red buttons here, okay, that you see on the websites. aehelp.com for general IELTS, it's here. gieltshelp.com, one-time payment, lifetime access. We're partnered with British Council, IDP. You're in great hands with us, everybody. And I look forward to teaching you more in the next class on this same topic. I would love to see some more volunteers. We'll have lots of opportunities to interact with each other through the website in the next class. Again, everyone, we've got what it takes for you to improve English, to improve communication, and to pursue your dreams. So aehelp.com for everyday learning and for these live classes. gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Thank you, members. You've been awesome so far. Do come back in half an hour. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from beautiful Victoria for now, but I'll be back shortly. See you soon.